Earthquake tests new wireless network in far-flung Alaska. Anchorage, Alaska. The police chief of Alaska's largest city hurried out of the department's glass building after the ground began to shake. Phone lines jammed. Anchorage Police Chief Justin Dahl was able to reach other officials who had the new high-speed connection after the 7.1 magnitude quake last year caused widespread damage. It proved to be a trial run in Alaska for the FirstNet network, which Dahl and other commanders had just signed on to test with their personal cell phones. The crucial calls, it. Anchorage police officially opted into the service in January, joining thousands of public safety agencies nationwide that can use the connection during emergencies and for everyday work like communicating by smartphone, routing officers to calls and looking up suspect information in the field. Agencies. In Alaska, the network is seen as an emerging tool to connect emergency responders in a massive state with scores of tribal villages far removed from roads. High-speed internet. The network is secure, encrypted and off-limits to the public. It's raised concern. Both FirstNet and AT&T, which runs the high-speed system, say it's up to subscribers to open aspects of the network. The communications, launched last year, the network was established by Congress in 2012 after the September 11 terrorist attacks, when some police and fire departments couldn't communicate over incompatible radio systems. The First Responder Network Authority, an independent federal entity, oversees it with AT&T, which plans to invest $40 billion over its 25-year government contract. The U.S. was the first to roll out a government-backed wireless network for first responders, and nations like Australia, South Korea, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom are studying FirstNet as they look to create similar services, spokeswoman April Ward. Verizon has rolled out a similar service for first responders not tied to the government but would not say how many agencies have signed up. More than 7,000. More than half of the system has been completed, Somber said. In Alaska, the 5-year goal is to build the network to cover more than 90% of the population, but that still amounts to less than half of the state's far-flung tribal lands, according to the FirstNet plan for Alaska. A half dozen for now, nothing replaces Alaska's mobile radio network, said John Rockwell, a state official who worked on the plan. In cities like Anchorage, police have issued FirstNet-linked cell phones to officers and equipped laptops in patrol cars with mobile hotspots. During a recent shift, Anchorage Officer T. Scott Maston used the network to look up photos that confirmed the identity of a man found sleeping in a car in a church parking lot. Previously, in Seattle, firefighters use FirstNet for dispatch and for transmitting patient health care information, among other things. Port Street, the small community of Whiteville, North Carolina, lost all connections except for FirstNet when Hurricane Florence hit last September, City Emergency Manager Hal Loader said. Even FirstNet started slowing down when officials tried to send large amounts of data, so they turned to an option available to all subscribers' equipment that turns a satellite signal into an LTE cell tower. Whiteville officials relied on the push-to-talk app to communicate when all other systems were down. Loader said the app, FirstNet isn't urging responders to give up traditional radios, but that's the direction the market is heading, CEO Ed Parkinson said. There's already a trend toward silencing police radios for the public. A growing number of FirstNet's lack of public scrutiny is raising concerns about further erosion to freedom of information rights. Alex Tarquini, Follow Rachel Doro at https://twitter.com/Rodero.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.